How strange. It seems to me that I have met you before, traveler. Well, great are the mysteries of time and space. Oh, please forgive my rudeness, son of patience. I have not even greeted you yet. Welcome, friend. Take a seat on my humble rugs and enjoy a pipe in peace.
Who are you?
My name is Abu Jin ibn Jabir ibn Omar Khalid bin Haji al-Sharidi. I am a seer and a prophet, an astrologer and a purveyor of tobacco.
Can you make me a prophecy?
My services are yours for a modest fee, oh father of generosity.
How much do you want?
For a paltry 25 coins. I shall risk a glance through time for you. But remember, the future is always uncertain. All I can do is glimpse some fragments of time.
Tell me about the future.
All right, seeker of knowledge. I shall now enter a state of trance. Are you ready? Orcs. They are guarding an entry, an old tunnel, a valley of mines, men in shining armor. A magician, your friend, is with them. He is waiting for you. Fire! An attack! A mighty creature. The flames, many shall die. What is that? A city. Ruins. Guarholdran in Jarkandar. He is summoned. Guarholdran in Jarkandar. I'm sorry. The vision is over. There's nothing more I can see.
What kind of tobacco do you offer?
My pipes are filled with spicy, refreshing apple tobacco. Help yourself whenever you want, son of adventure.
Do you have other tobacco as well?
I offer only the very best tobacco. This apple plant is a symphony from my homeland, the Southern Isles. But, of course, I'm always open to trying a different sort of tobacco. If somebody should succeed in producing a really good tobacco.
How's that done?
Start with my apple tobacco as a basis, and then try combining it with another ingredient. This is done at an alchemist's bench, provided you know the essentials of alchemy.
Where can I get apple tobacco?
I shall give you 2 portions. It is up to you, in your wisdom, to do with them whatever you want. If you crave more, then direct your steps toward Zuris, the master of potions. He produces this tobacco, and he sells it too.
Hear ye, inhabitants of Corinus.
Hey,
By
you!
the explicit order of the Honorable Lord Hagen.
How's it going?
The following decree
You're not from
is
around here,
hereby
are you?
enacted
Never mind.
by
Neither
reason
am
of the
I.
imminent danger
Where did you
of
hang
attack
around
by
before?
orcs.
In the
Each
woods, helping
inhabitant of the
scavengers
city
and
is to
wolves,
prepare
together
himself
with some
accordingly.
hunters.
Everyone
I
is to
gave it
begin
up.
training in the
These are
skills
dangerous
of
times.
combat
There's a lot of
immediately
riffraff
and to
running
arm
around
himself
out there.
appropriately.
Hey! Where can I find the other hunters?
We had our camp outside near the tavern halfway to Onar's farm. But I don't know whether there's anyone left in the camp now.
There used to be 2 of us here in town, until a few days ago. My friend Trokar is an excellent hunter.
So, where is your friend Trokar now?
Well, it's a curious story. Only a few days ago, we were both standing at the bar in Corrigan's tavern, discussing the hunt. Don't ask me what happened next. I had had a few by then. I vaguely remember Trokar saying that He was going out to get a few swamp weed reefers. He never came back.
Didn't you go looking for him?
No, but I reported it to the militia, but they haven't been able to find him yet. I hope he didn't get attacked by a wolf, or worse. I'm afraid that I'll stumble over his body someday when I'm out hunting. I don't think I could bear that.
Where does one get swamp weed reefers?
Somewhere down at the harbor as far as I know.
Hear ye, inhabitants of Corinnis.
Hey, come
By the
closer.
explicit order of
Take
the
a break and
Honorable
have a
Lord
sip of
Hagen,
cool beer.
the following
Lord
decree
Andre is
is
springing for a
hereby
few barrels of
enacted.
free beer.
By reason of the imminent danger of an attack by orcs, each inhabitant of the city is to prepare himself accordingly. Everyone is to begin training in the skills of combat immediately, and to arm himself appropriately.
Smart kid.
Hey, what's up?
As long as the paladins don't have any new assignments for me, I can have myself a couple of beers here. What more could you ask?
You're working for the paladins?
Yeah, I report to them on the situation in the city. At the moment, everything is quiet.
How are things with the orcs?
No reason to worry. We in the city guard and the paladins have everything under control. Go home and let us do our work. We're watching over the town and its citizens. Oh,
Would you like another beer?
sure I want another beer. Get me one.
Would you like another beer?
There's nothing better than a cool ale.
You were about to say something about the orcs.
Oh, yeah, right. The orcs are absolutely no threat to the city. They're stuck in the Valley of Mines, and the pass is held by the paladins. Not even a meat bug could get through there.
What are you doing here?
I'm a novice from the monastery. I run errands for the magicians and also the paladins. I have provided the 3 innkeepers in the city with wine from the monastery.
Who are the 3 innkeepers?
One of them is the good man here behind the bar. Then there is Karagon, who has his tavern on the Temple Square, and Cardiff, the owner of the tavern in the Harbor District.
What can you tell me about the monastery?
We novices seek enlightenment in prayer to Innos and learn the principles of faith from the magicians. We serve them as we serve Innos and prepare ourselves for the union with the fire.
Well, take me to the monastery.
Forget it. Do you know how many creatures I had to evade on the way? When I think of all those bloodflies, wolves, and goblins, I'm glad that I don't have to leave here anymore. Besides, you can't enter the monastery anyway.
But why not?
Entrance is only permitted to magicians, paladins, and novices.
How can I become a novice?
If a man feels the deep desire,
Hey, just tell me what the conditions are.
you need the offerings, a sheep and 1,000 gold pieces.
How am I supposed to get that much gold?
Since you obviously don't know anyone who would pay that for you, you'll simply have to go to work.
Where can I find a sheep?
From the farmers, of course. But you won't get one for nothing.
What do you want? I'm not giving anything away.
I'm looking to become an apprentice.
Really? And with whom are you going to sign up?
I want to sign up with one of the other masters.
You have come to ask my approval? As far as I'm concerned, you can sign up with whoever you like.
I want to sign up with you as an apprentice.
With me? No! I have already had the dubious pleasure once of grappling with an apprentice. That's quite enough for me. I invested several years in his education, and in the end, the poor fool up and poisoned himself. Go sign up with one of the other masters.
What will I have to do to become your apprentice?
I couldn't bear yet another dilettante on my conscience. There is a multitude of herbs out there. Used in different variations, they develop the most diverse effects. You probably don't even know half of them. Here. This is a list of the most important plants. Bring me a plant of each kind, and I might reconsider taking you in as an apprentice.
Show me your wares. Hey, you! I'm looking for work.
I could use a new apprentice. Brian will have finished his apprenticeship soon, and then he'll leave the city. Are you good for anything?
If you mean, do I know blacksmith's work?
No, that's not what I meant. Sooner or later, the orcs are going to lay siege to the city, and then the only men who will count will be those who are in a position to defend our city. And I won't take on anyone as an apprentice who will disgrace me by fleeing the city with the women and the good-for-nothings, instead of holding the fort here with the men.
I'm not a good-for-nothing.
Those are big words. Can you back them up with big deeds?
What are you getting at?
Bring me an orc's weapon. Orcs have been seen near the city. With a bit of luck, you won't have to search for long. If you manage to bring one down, I'll take you on as an apprentice, provided the other masters agree.
Let's talk again about that orc thing.
What?
An orc is a damn tough opponent.
Looking at you, you might be right. You don't have much meat on your bones. But that can change. Nevertheless, you have to prove to me that you have the courage to fight.
So, couldn't it be something slightly smaller?
Hakon, the weapons dealer in the marketplace, told me that he was attacked by bandits a few days ago. The bastards are said to be roaming around somewhere outside the East Gate. Those cowardly rogues shouldn't be terribly bright. Hunt the bastards down. Every single one of them. Then I'll know that we can use you here in the city.
Can I sign on as an apprentice with a different master?
The other masters may well approve, but I will only give you my approval when you first prove that you're good for something.
Hey, new in the city, huh? I'm Brian. I'm Master Harrod's apprentice.
What's it like to be the smith's apprentice?
Why do you ask? You want to be my successor?
Maybe.
Why not? I'm almost done with my apprenticeship, and then I'm gonna leave the city. But not because of Harrod. He is a good master. I have learned a lot from him.
Why do you want to leave this town?
Because the people here are getting on my nerves above all the other masters. I still remember what a fuss it was getting accepted as an apprentice with Harrod. Really, every one of them jokers had something to say about it. I want to decide for myself who I can or can't take as an apprentice.
Who are the other masters?
Well, there's Thorben the carpenter, Bosper the bowmaker, Constantino the alchemist, and Matteo. He sells armor, but first of all, he's a merchant. All the masters have their houses here on the street, and Constantino's shop is in the underpass to the temple.
Tell me more about Master Harrod.
He's not in a very good mood right now. A few days ago, the paladins came and ordered him to forge some swords for them. They've even forbidden him to sell swords to anyone else. Now he slaves day and night to finish the job as quickly as possible.
Hey. Ah, fresh face. You're not from Corinus, are you? This is not a good time for travelers. Bandits everywhere, no work, and now the farmers have risen up too. What winds have blown you here?
I'm looking for work.
Do you know anything about carpentry?
The only thing I can make out of wood is a fire.
And what about locks?
Well...
I'm sorry, but I can't use you if you know nothing about my trade. And I have no money to pay for an apprentice.
What if I want to start an apprenticeship with one of the other masters here?
All right, I shall give you my approval. But you had better get yourself the blessing of the gods first. Say, are you a man of faith?
Yes, a most humble servant, Master Thorben.
Then go to Vatras, the priest of Adanos, and have him give you his blessing. He will tell you where you can find a priest of Innos. You should get his blessing too. Once you have received the blessing of the gods, I shall vote for you.
Have you had an apprentice before?
Yes, and not too long ago.
And what happened?
His name is Elvrich. He's my nephew. I was quite pleased with him, actually, but one day he simply didn't show up for work.
Where is Elvrich now?
How would I know? He kept hanging around that filthy brothel by the harbor. I wouldn't be surprised if he's still warming the bed of some whore down there.
How long has it been since you saw him?
I guess it must be about 2 weeks.
Have you reported that to the militia?
Of course I have. They were supposed to catch him and see to it that the lazy bones does his work. But I already regret that. He can do whatever he wants. Sooner or later he'll realize he'll get nowhere in Corinus without a decent job.
Is that so?
What do you know about the paladins?
Not much. They arrived by ship 2 weeks ago from the mainland. Since then, they have withdrawn to the upper end of town. Nobody here really knows exactly why they have come. Many are afraid of an attack by the orcs. I suppose, however, that they are here to quell the farmers' rebellion.
Do you know anything about the Peasants' Rebellion?
Rumor has it that Onar, the landowner, has hired mercenaries to keep the king's troops from breathing down his neck. He was probably tired of having to throw his harvest along with his livestock at paladins and militia. All we notice of this in town is that the food prices keep rising. Onar's farm lies far to the east of here. We wouldn't know if there's any fighting going on there. And if you want to know more, ask the merchants in the marketplace. They get around the island more than I do.
I've come about Gritta.
My niece? What's your business with her? This isn't about money, is it?
She owes 100 gold pieces to the merchant Matteo.
Tell me this isn't true. Ever since that little piece of work moved in with me, I've had nothing but trouble. She's in debt with practically every single merchant in town. I had to borrow 200 gold pieces from Lamar, the moneylender, just to settle her debts. And now this. Gritta should be in the house. Go ahead, ask her. But I tell you this, she doesn't have a single gold piece.
We shall see.
Hey.
What do you want, stranger? If you've come to beg, I must disappoint you. I am a poor widow. My name is Gritta. Ever since my husband died, I have been running the household for my uncle Thorben.
Matteo sent me. You still owe him some gold.
He wants his money? What for? The goods he delivered were flawed, bad fabric, and bad seams. And did you look at the colors? Those are not the colors I ordered. That's fraud, that is. Let me tell you. Back when my husband was alive, he wouldn't have dared to do that. Oh, my poor husband.
Cut it out. Where's the gold?
But I don't have the gold. I'm only a poor widow.
I'm gonna pay the sum for you.
You would do that for me? Oh, I knew you weren't a greedy bastard like that Mateo.
Yeah, never mind.
Come back once you've taken care of that. I want to show you my gratitude.
Here's your 100 gold pieces.
You want to pay for her? I'd have preferred it if you'd squeezed it out of her. Still, 100 gold pieces is 100 gold pieces. You've held up your part of the deal.
How exactly can you help me?
Quite simple. I'll use my influence to see to it that one of the master craftsmen here takes you on as an apprentice. As such, you'll practically be a citizen of the city and can enter the upper quarter. Besides which, you'll earn something while you're at it.
Help me sign on as an apprentice with one of the masters.
Don't worry. I'll keep my part of the bargain. The other masters will only hear the best about you from me.
Why don't you take me on as an apprentice?
I would, but the other masters wouldn't agree. I just recently took on another apprentice.
I'm asking your blessing.
Why should I give you my blessing, stranger?
I want to start an apprenticeship with one of the masters in the lower part of town.
Go with the blessing of Adanos, my son.
One more thing.
Listen, kid. I've got important things to do right now. We'll talk again later, got it?
I am Hacken, the weapons dealer. Every man should carry a weapon these days, especially when venturing outside of the city walls.
Tell me more about the area around the city.
It's gotten too dangerous out there. Because of the bandits, for one thing. And also on account of wild beasts. Even the animals don't seem to get enough to eat in these crappy times. They're venturing closer to the city all the time.
What do you know about the disappearances of the citizens of Corinus?
I have seen many pass through the eastern city gate. Some of those who came I had never seen before in my life. And many of those who went out never came back. But what happened the other day was really quite strange. There was this fellow who came here. I think his name is Joe. He bragged that he would soon come into some serious money. He claimed that he knew how to get into one of the city towers, where the militia keep their arms. I haven't seen him since, even though I used to bump into him around the same time every day. I reported this to the militia. I thought that maybe he had been caught and thrown into the dungeon, but Lord Andre had no idea what I was talking about. He didn't even know the fella.
Harrod told me about the attack by bandits.
Oh? And?
He'll give me his approval to be accepted as an apprentice if I hunt down the bandits.
Good old Harrod. That must be his way of saying he's sorry that he can't produce any weapons for me at the moment.
What do you know about the bandits?
What do I know about them? They robbed me on my way to the city, and I'm not the only one. They've been up to their tricks for quite a while. The militia tried to track them down, but without any success.
Works all right, too. Who says things like that?
Do you know who in the militia took part in the search?
The fellow's name is Pablo. He and a few others went looking for the bandits, but they didn't find them.
Do you know where I can find Pablo?
He patrols around the city. You'll find him either at the Temple Square or in the lower part of town.
Where did they hold you up?
Near Akhil's farm. Just go out of the city gate from here. Follow the road to the right. After a while, you'll get to a few steps. The bastards came from there.
Everybody knows.
I bet they have their hideout back there in the woods.
I'll deal with it.
What? You want to take on the bandits? By yourself? You're quite a good fighter, huh?
How much is the matter worth to you?
You want to get in Harrod's good books, don't you? I don't think I should have to pay you for this.
Really? How interesting. He can't keep anything to himself.
What can I do for you? Are you seeking spiritual comfort? Do you want to direct a prayer to our Lord Enos, or donate some gold for his church?
That's what my husband thinks. If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes.
I've come to get your blessing.
That's good. That's good. Then you will probably want to donate gold to the Holy Church of Enos, won't you?
Actually, I wanted your blessing so I can sign on as an apprentice in the lower part of town.
But my son, without a modest donation to the church, it is impossible for me to bless you. How else can I be certain of your good intentions toward the Holy Church of Enos?
These are bad times. I won't tell her a thing from now on. He had better shut up.
So, how much does a donation usually run to here?
Well, that depends on what percentage you want to give, son. Let me see how much you brought. Huh. You're a poor soul, ain't you? Keep the little you have.
I want to make a donation. But I didn't bring it.
That doesn't matter.
And Beliar spoke to another creature, and Adanos brought forth the tide.
Hey, you! How about your approval, Master?
Has Vatras given you his blessing?
Yes.
And did you also get the blessing of a priest of Enos?
No, not yet.
You know my terms. You should only ply your trade with the blessing of the gods.
And the beast waged war upon the land of Adanos, and the wrath of the gods was with them. And the human slew the beast.
Honestly, I witnessed it myself. I don't believe that. Now that's typical, isn't it? That's what I've always said. Honestly, I witnessed it myself.
I want to make a donation.
That's what I've always said. He can't keep anything to himself. I don't believe it.
I bless you in the name of Enos, for he is light and righteousness.
That's typical, isn't it? Someone's gonna do the work. Go away, don't tell me that. Who says things like that? If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes.
saw that order and chaos were now unequal, and he bade Enos to take his divine...
Hey, you! How about your approval, Master?
Has Vatras given you his blessing?
Yes.
And did you also get the blessing of a priest of Enos?
Yes, I did.
Then you shall have my blessing as well. No matter what path you decide to take pride in doing a good job, my boy.
And so he bade Enos to leave a part of his power in his realm so that he might restore it to the human if the beast should return. And Enos, in his wisdom...
That's what I've always said. And he works all day too. But that's terrible. Now that's typical, isn't it? That's what I've always said. All day too. And it's
I'm Zurus, master of potions. Do you need an essence of healing or a magic elixir? Then you've come to the right place.
Go away, don't tell me that.
Do you brew your own potions?
No, I either get them from the monastery or I buy them from Constantino, the alchemist. If you're interested in brewing potions, then talk to him. He needs an assistant. But he's too pig-headed to hire someone himself. He's just as stubborn as a mule. He always passes me when he goes out on the east gate to collect plants for his potions.
Where exactly does Constantino gather his herbs?
He always goes through the eastern city gate here and then disappears into the wilderness to the left. He once told me that just about everything grows there, except for King Sorrel.
That's not what I heard.
Has Constantino ever told you where to find King Sorrel?
I once heard him say that the stuff grows near stone circles. Near Lobart's farm. That's a farm near the other gate. There's one of those stone circles. I think it's on a hill. It used to be a grave or something.
He had better shut up. Now that's typical, isn't it? And it's going to get even worse. He had better shut up. It's going to get even worse.
Hey, not so fast. Strolling about alone out here is dangerous. Where do you come from?
From the city.
Well, well. Then what are you doing wandering around out here, so far from the protective walls of the city?
Alarm!
a torment for Belia.
About the plants.
If you cannot handle that by yourself, you won't be any good as an alchemist either.
I've got all the plants I was supposed to bring you.
What? You're pulling my leg, right? By Adonos. It's all there, all right. Who knows? Maybe someday you could make a decent alchemist after all.
Believe everything you hear.
Hey.
What do you want?
I've got the orc weapon you wanted.
Show me. You did it after all. Good man. It's been a while since I've had a weapon like this in my hands. I was a soldier back in the Orc War. Those were tough times, I can tell you. I didn't think you could do it. I'm impressed.
Hey. Hey.
Can I become your apprentice now?
As far as I'm concerned, yes. All that matters to Herod is that you will be able to defend the city if it is attacked by orcs. And it looks like you've got him convinced of that. And Bosper doesn't know you yet. Thorben is a very religious man. He has given you his blessing. That is a good sign. As for Mateo, he's singing your praises high and low. You now have the approval of 4 masters. That will suffice for you to be accepted as an apprentice. Are you ready to begin your apprenticeship with me?
Yes, Master.
Oh, all right then. I hope I'm not going to regret this decision. From this moment, you may consider yourself my apprentice.
What are my tasks?
I realize that I cannot expect a young man to spend all day indoors with me. From time to time, you shall bring me the plants I need. In return, I shall instruct you in the art of alchemy. You can buy the bottles from me. Most of the ingredients, however, you will have to get for yourself. And I expect you to behave properly as a citizen of this town.
What plants am I supposed to bring?
I shall buy everything you bring to me, and I'll pay the usual price. For mushrooms, however, I shall pay you a special price.